and welcome back to my channel. Quite some time ago I saw a dress, a picture of a dress that was a beige polka dot, and ever since then I have been searching for a fabric like that, and finally I found one, my beige polka dot that I really wanted. I was thinking of chiffon or viscose, or even the thinner flowier fabrics, because I like that more, but I could only find a cotton, and because this was exactly the polka dot that I wanted, I bought it. And it is a more sturdy cotton, so more classic cotton, and that is really nice too. I'm planning to make a more wider skirt. I'm not sure if that is a wise choice, because the sturdier cottons are more suitable for the more fitted clothing. But I'm just gonna do it and we'll see what it will be. And I first thought of making a dress, but I've decided to make a skirt and a blouse. So we have two pieces, and that makes that you can mix and match with the rest of the clothing in your closet, and you have more possibilities to use your blouse and your skirt. So in this video we're gonna make the skirt, the next video will be the blouse, and I will show you now how we're gonna make it. And if you make sure that you are subscribed, you have your notification on, then you get notified whenever I upload the next video of the blouse. Then you can make the whole set. So how we're gonna make it? We make a blouse and a skirt. The skirt will be a rather wide one, going out a little bit to the bottom, to the hemline. I make mine midi length because I like that very much. You can of course make it shorter, you can also make it a mini skirt, or you can make it really long, whatever you prefer. We have a waistband here, and I make some pleats here on the waistband in the front and in the back. Then we make a zipper and a button in the back, and that's just the whole skirt. If you like, you can make it wider or make more pleats here, so it will be wider here on top. I make just smaller pleats and let it flare out a bit to the bottom. For the blouse, I'll make mine just straight on. You can make it more cinched in if you like, but because it's cotton, I like it more in a straight fit, and when you tuck it into your skirt, you can have that waist definition there. I made here a shoulder part where we pleat the bottom of the blouse on. So you have here some pleats on the top. We have a normal rounded neck hole, but with a V opening here going down, and with two strings that you can tie together here in the mid front. Then we have shorter sleeves. I make mine till the elbow. That I can cinch in with a drawstring here in the hem of the sleeve. So you get some small pleats here on the bottom of your sleeves. If you like, you can of course also make your sleeve a bit wider here on top and make some pleats here too. You can do that too. I don't do that, but you can certainly very easily do that too. And the back is just plain, just a normal back pattern, with the sleeves of course the same as in the front. So that's what we're gonna make. So then the pattern for the skirt. I didn't use my basic pattern because you can just easily draw this out yourself, because it doesn't require special measurements. The only thing that I did is, this is just a straight line, because the video is a little bit distorted. This is just a straight line. So this will be your mid front or your mid back. Then what I did is I measured how much quarter of my waist is. You have that in your measuring chart. You can of course also just measure it now on yourself, make your front, measure your front and divide it by 2. And that quarter waist, I made it times 1.5. Normally it would be more wise to do it twice that width, but because this is a cotton, I don't want to have too much bulk here on my waistline because I am very short and it makes me rather bulky. But if you have a normal height and a normal size, or what's normal, but if you don't mind to have too much bulk here on your waist, then I would advise you to do twice your quarter width. I just did 1.5, and I'm still debating if I want to do more, but I'm really afraid that I get with the pleats too much bulk here, and I know that I don't like that. So just see how much you want me to do. So mine is quarter waist times 1.5. I marked it, and I lowered my mid front from this side with 2.5 centimeters. So when you see when I put my ruler here, this part is lower than this. So lower this line here with 2.5 centimeters so that you have some kind of a curve here on your waist of your skirt pattern. Then you can make your skirt as wide as you like. What you can do is use the whole width of your fabric, but I don't have enough fabric then, so I wanted to place my front and my back, put them inside each other, and when I don't use the whole width of my fabric I can just play a little bit with it. So I made it a little bit smaller than my fabric, so in a straight line it is 52 centimeters for me. Of course it's also depending on how long you make your skirt, because when you make your skirt shorter than mine, then you can go more out. So it's just depending on how long your skirt is and how wide you want it to be, how much you take it on the bottom. So as I said, mine is 52 centimeters and it is 80 centimeters long, so it's quite a bit. And then you just connect your waist corner part to whatever length and width you want here on the bottom. And then what is important, because here your waist is in a curve, you must make sure that also your hemline is in a curve. And you can do that just by putting your measuring tape here on the pattern. Measure from the waist and the front how long the skirt is, and at same length you do from every corner, or from a few points here on your waistline, measure down and mark the same length as your mid front was. So go from the mid to the side seam, and then you make sure that every part of your pattern is the same length. And when you mark that down and you connect those dots, then you see that your hemline also gets a curve, and that's what you want. Then you also get a really nice flow of your skirt when your hemline is not just straight on. Also when you wear it, when you put it straight on, this will be too long, so you will see that your side seam will be too long in comparison to your mid front. So make a nice curve of your skirt, and that's the only thing you have to do for the front and the back. The front of course goes on the fold. The back just goes onto your selvage or whatever you prefer. So we're going to start with putting in the zipper, and what you do is you mark to where your zipper comes, put in a pin there, and then you place your two back parts on top of each other with the mid back facing. And then what I always like to do is, of course I pin it all down, but with my sewing machine I will sew the whole mid back seam. But what I do, the top part till where the zipper ends, here is my pin, I do with a basting stitch, so a very wide stitch, and then the rest of the seam I do with my normal stitch that I will keep later on. And then I press open my seam so that both parts of the seam go to either side, and then it's very easy to put in your zipper afterwards. So you press your whole seam open afterwards, and I show you then how we put in our zipper. I have a few different specials on how to put in zippers on different places. So if you're not very sure how to do this, watch the tutorials to look for what tutorial is best for your garment, the placement where you want it to be, and watch that before you put it in, because now I'm just gonna do this and sew that zipper. Is sewn and pressed down, and the nice thing of this just plain cotton is that you get such crisp, nice seams, and I hardly ever sew with cotton, but this is very satisfying. So what I do is I did my basting stitch here on the top of my seam, so I can take that out very easily when I've sewn my zipper in. And what I like to do is put the teeth of my zipper exactly onto that stitching. And you can see where you do it here from the wrong side, you can lift it up and then see whether you have matched it up right with the stitching. And then I like to pin it down just across, so I can do the real pins from the right side, but then I'm sure that my teeth of my zipper are exactly on the middle of my seam. So I give that a few pins, then I flip my fabric around to the right side, and then I can just very easily pin down my zipper band, and watch how wide it is when you pin it from the right side to see where you need your pins and your stitching to be. That's not close enough. That's better. And then like that you can pin it all around, and then you sew the zipper closed or on. And when you have sewn the zipper on, you can really see here it's loosening up already a bit here on the beginning, because I didn't backstitch it, of course. Then you can just very easily take that out with a seam ripper until the end of your zipper, and then your zipper is nicely in. The zipper is nicely in, and it is almost invisible, although it's not even an invisible zipper, so it looks very nice like this. Now we're going to sew the side seams. So put your front pattern on top of the back. Let me see how this is, like this. Right sides together, of course. And then you're going to sew both the side seams all the way down. Now we're going to make our pleats here on the top part of the skirt, and you can measure it out exactly. You can also just fold it in. When you have doubled your measurements, then you take in half till it's half your width. I just added half of the measurement, so I only can take in a quarter. So make sure that you know how much it must be at the end, and then you can just make some pleats and pin them in. Measure if the circumference all around is okay. And what I will do is I will certainly iron them in the pleat, so that it's really a bit of a pleat. I'll see how far I can go, but I like it when it's really nice and flat ironed down the pleats. So make the pleats for whatever width you have, and then I'll show you how to attach the waistband. So I folded in all my pleats. I also iron them down a little bit till here. Maybe I will do all the way down like a plissé skirt. I'm not sure if that will work out when you do that yourself, so I just did a little bit. Maybe I will iron it down a little bit more, but I think maybe till here or something. Then I tried it on to see if it fitted nicely, and that was okay. So I cut my waistband, the width of your waist plus an extra 4 centimeters for the overlap, and I cut it 8 centimeters wide, so that is a waistband of 3 centimeters doubled up with on each side 1 centimeter seam allowance. And then I ironed on some interfacing on half of the waistband, so here the top part, to give it a bit more grip, because I like my waistband to be rather stiff, then it will not crumble up when you sit down or something like that. So I did that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put the waistband onto the skirt. And what you do first is you fold the one sides together so that you can stitch here the end of your waistband, and then you can pin it onto the top of your skirt all the way around. And I always like to start where I closed up the edge, then that is the start of my oh, let's do the other side, the start of my waist. And then I like to sew the part without the interfacing on first, because then when you fold it up, the interfacing will be from the inside, and I don't like it when the part with the interfacing is on the outside. Sometimes you get some wrinkles or crisps here, and that's not really nice. So make sure that the part with the interfacing is folded to the inside, and that means that you sew it on or with the part that is without the interfacing, if that makes sense. Then you pin it all the way around. At the end you leave the overlap on one side or the other, whatever you prefer. You can make the overlap going over, or you can have the part going under, whatever you like, doesn't really matter. And then you sew that all around, and when you've done that you can flip it up, iron it down, and then you finish it up by folding in the other part of the waistband. Just fold the seam allowance in, and then I always like to hand stitch that. You can also top stitch it, whatever you prefer. And then you only have to do is make some closure here at the end of your waistband, and you can do that with a button, with a buttonhole, or what's it called, a snap, or whatever you like. You can do that to close it up. And when you've done that, the only thing you have to do is hem the bottom of your skirt. Mine is pretty long, and pretty curved for that, so I'll make a very small walled hem. You can, when your skirt is not that wide and your hemline is more straight on, you can also do a more wider hem of 2 centimeters or something doubled up. But when your hemline is rather curved up on the sides, it's more easy to do a walled hem, otherwise you get trouble, because going in the width is smaller than at the bottom of the hem, and then you get problems sewing that down nicely. So when you've done that, then your skirt is finished. I pinned the waistband all the way around. I had some left here, I can cut it off later. So now I'm gonna sew it all around, then flip it over, put the seam allowance under, and hand stitch that down. So I fold in the seam allowance on the inside, and I pin that down so I can hand stitch that, and then your waistband is nicely finished like this. it turned out a really nice and classic piece, I think. Although I'm not really a fan of this more stiffer, thicker cotton, I think it still looks very nice. I love more the flowy fabrics, but also this looks different, so that's not a wrong thing. I ironed down my pleats quite a bit, I think around 25 centimeters from here, to give it a little more structure down, otherwise it would go out too much, and I don't like that too much because I'm so short. But I think like this, it is nice. It's still flowy, but just not as flowy as the viscose or chiffon dresses that I normally make. But still, it's a really nice skirt, especially with the blouse, because I thought I'll finish the blouse already. I will show you in the next video how to make that, but then you can already see the whole piece as if it is a dress, and I think that looks really, really nice. The skirt is just plain and simple, as you saw, the zipper in the middle, but it's not really that difficult if you make it how I showed you. And just the pleats give it a little bit more width. Of course, you can also make an elasticated waistband, and you have there not a pleats but just a smaller gatherings because of the elastic, and that is nice too, and easy to make, and also very comfortable. So I think it's very nice. I really like this polka dot. I'm really glad that I finally found the fabric. It would have been better if it was a viscose, but anyway, I think it's a nice dress or two-piece like this, and I think I will certainly get quite some wear out of it. I was even debating whether or not to make this a crinkle skirt. Is that the word? I hope. You know, way back we had these skirts that were out of wrinkle fabric, and when you had to lay them in the closet, you just wrinkle them up in a bun and then lay it in the closet. And I thought I can do that too. Then you get more your fabrics together and not that standing out too much. But I think like this with more the iron down pleats, it is very nice and very classic. And when you make it a crinkle skirt, crinkle skirt is the word, then it's more casual. And I wanted to make this a really classic piece so that you can wear it to whatever occasion. I just thought I haven't done quite some styling tips on my channel for the things that I'm making. I could have done it now because this is very nice two-piece to wear with a blazer. But I don't. Maybe I show you in the next video of the blouse how you can style it, except for just these two together. Of course, these two separately, because of course you can also wear the skirt separately and also the blouse separately. So, but together as a dress, I think it's really nice. And I show you in the next video how to make this blouse. If you make sure you're subscribed and you put your notifications on, then you get notified when I have uploaded that video. So I hope you like this one, and I'm very happy with my polka dot finally, my beige polka dot that I really couldn't find. And I thank you so much for watching, and I see you again next time for the blouse. Bye!